Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Eduardo Silva and I will be talking about my Makerspace activity project for this fall 2021. Um, the activity that I'm doing, I am a fourth grade teacher here at El Paso ISD, and right now we're currently covering mixtures, and I find the Makerspace project idea very useful in my classroom because kids get to work hands-on, especially with STEM, and that is very important and crucial in the development for students nowadays. I did do the trail mix, the fun with trail mix mixture. Um, and I felt that my kids did like it when we did it in class. They were very engaged. Note to self: we do have to be very careful with allergies because different students have different type of allergies. So whatever you're using in the classroom, you need to make sure that the students are not allergic to it. Another option that I did provide to one of my classes, because there's a lot of allergy stuff going on in that classroom, I decided to do it with different things. Instead of food, it was going to be like I used erasers, I used pencils, I used paper clips, pins, anything like that that wasn't um, allergic to what cause an allergic reaction to my kiddos. What is the benefit of my Makerspace project for the youth? I feel it engages students in creating and knowing how science is part of our everyday life. Nowadays, with everything that's going on, we need to make sure that we, keep a social distance and follow everything else that we need to. But I feel that with projects like these, we're still able to connect to a real life situation, knowing that mixtures are everywhere. It's not just part of the classroom. Knowing that when you go home, you can create a mixture. Knowing that when you're in the store, something falls on the ground or different things falls on the ground, there's a mixture there. So allowing the students that spectrum of knowing how a mixture has worked and how it can be projected in real life. How does this connect libraries and STEM education? One thing that I did when I did this activity, I worked with my mentor, my school librarian, and I connected it with asking her to guide me through different books that I could use or resources that I can use online. She even helped me give she gave a partial lesson to my students about how they can log in into our webpage for the school and look for resources for mixtures. And she showed them how to research, and she showed them how to look for books regarding mixtures. Then I came in with the project. I connected it with what she had told me. I borrowed some of the books. I read some of the books to the kiddos. The kids got to interact with the books as well. And we both were able to collaborate together to perform this project and make it happen and come to life. Some of the kids were like, hey, we read about that, or Miss Rhodes talked about that in the library last week. So we saw that connection coming from the librarian to the teacher, and that's what we want in a classroom setting. Share your experience with creating the project. For example, was it difficult? As a teacher, we have difficulty everywhere. Like I said, it was the major concern for this project was the allergic reactions that the kids would have, or um, some students not being able to understand what a mixture was. Fortunately, to my luck, one of my classes that I had, they were able to work with the food. And of course, we went like when we're doing a lab, safety procedures, safety rules, go over all of that. And we talked about how we never eat anything in lab. We don't consume anything unless the teacher lets you to. In this case, just to keep it safe, I decided not to. But they had fun seeing how the different friends and themselves created different mixtures with the same materials that I had provided for them. Um, was it difficult for the second class? A little bit. They were like, hey, how come I didn't get to use the food? Again, I had to go over the talk about allergies and all of that. But they did like it as well. They were able to connect with stuff. With that class, I was able to go a step further. And since they were using a lot of material, they was like, okay, how can we separate this mixture? What can we use to separate this mixture? And we kind of did a mini lesson on magnets, on how magnets can separate certain type of metals that were located within our mixtures. And they got to work on that as well. So a little bit of an extension there for that extra class. Um, Honestly, my experience was fun. My kids had fun. That's what the main concern here is, making sure that the students are learning in a fun and interactive way. What challenges can you foresee with implementing it with youth? Some of the challenges, again, it's with dealing with food in the classroom has to do with the allergy section. Another thing is students not understanding how the mixture can be separated and put back together. We need to make sure that when we're dealing with this TIC in general, we are understanding that the students know that a mixture is something that is separated and can be put back together. We usually use the salad method, right, in making sure that we can, you know, create a salad and you can see everything in the salad and all of that. So making sure that they understand what a mixture really is. that is something that probably the future generations have not taught well or not connected well. Then probably one of the miscommunications that we'll be seeing. Again, I was fortunate enough to be able to connect this lesson with my mentor, my librarian, Ms. Rhodes, and she was of great help, helping me understand the kids understand what a mixture was. What advice do you have for other people that want to implement the project? Patience. Patience, 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 patience. If you're dealing with food, students want to eat everything. You're going to have to reiterate over and over that we're not going to eat in this lab. This lab is not for consuming. Making sure that everybody is, using the protective gear that you're supposed to. Kids are kids, and we know that they want to go ahead and do what they want sometimes. But again, it goes back to making sure that you follow the rules for every lab. You follow the procedures for every lab. That if you say there's no eating, we're not going to eat on this lab. We're going to make sure we proceed in beforehand on all those labs that you guys have done in the past. I recommend that you guys follow along with those same ones. Stick with the plan. That way, once you come to labs like these, they're already used to what they're supposed to be doing. But patience, yes, patience is a big key. And if you do have a lot of kiddos with allergies, like my second class did, find something interactive the same way I did, like find something that they can still use. Connect another extension, such as separating it with the magnets. Something that they can find exciting, not just be like, oh, I don't get to deal with the food, but they still got very excited when they started talking about magnets. So find extensions like that that still incorporate into what you're trying to do. How much did it cost? Honestly, not much. I am very thankful that I was able to communicate with my parents, like, hey, we're gonna do this lab. If you could donate any type of stuff. Some parents brought me cookies, some parents chocolate. The pistachios and the almonds I brought myself because I had it home. Um, Another parent brought me the cereal, and then kids brought their own little stuff. Again, I told them if you're gonna bring it, it's gonna be for the whole class, not just for you. Another stuff that we need to talk to the students about. Out of pocket, I honestly did not pay anything. Most of it was donations. And for the second class, most of the stuff I already had in my classroom, stuff that is provided by the school. So honestly, out of my pocket, this was $0. Thank goodness, right? That's what we like. But if matters comes to worse, or you're in a district that needs, more help than others, no more than $5, honestly. No more than $5 should be anything done with this lab, with this STEM project. Anything else you would like to share? Yes. We need to understand that these days are very critical, and we need to make sure that students are understanding what it is that we want them to know. Anything that you can create hands-on is going to be a great learning experience for your students. It helps them. It helps them stay concentrated and motivates them. As well. If you have a privilege to connect it with your librarian, I highly encourage you to do so. Connect it with books. Power is knowledge, and books have that. Make sure that students know that reading is amazing, and they can find it everywhere, especially in the library. You can talk to your librarian and connect that with her or with them. I'm sorry, and seek guidance with them. They know a lot, believe me. Read with your students, even if they're in the upper grades. They might be like, oh, I don't like reading. Believe me, they do. They like the reading part, especially for stuff like this. Other than that, I think that's about it. This is my Makerspace project activity for fall 2021. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you get to try it at home.